All right, COB Rockstars, buckle up. We've made it to part 10, the exhilarating conclusion of our COB Mastery series. Today, we're diving headfirst into something absolutely critical for proving all that incredible work we've done, the documentation and audit checklist. Think about all the complex logic we've navigated, right? All those intricate MSP rules, the claim building, the outreach. How do we ensure every single recovery we identify stands up to rigorous scrutiny? How do we prove our findings every time? It all boils down to impeccable documentation. We're going to break down exactly what needs to be organized, verified, logged, and finalized. This isn't just about finding savings, it's about showing the journey of those savings. Are you ready to perfect your paper trail?
All right, let's talk about the art of the finish. This is where precision shines, where we ensure everything is locked down and ready. You've done the deep dive, uncovered the findings, and now it's all about validation. Look at this flight check protocol. See how crucial it is? Is your validation complete? Is that data integrity truly verified? We need those audit trails secured because, as you know, every detail matters. This isn't just a checklist. It's our gateway to ensuring quality and avoiding rework. Are we really ready for submission? And how do we get there? With robust templates. Our claim description template moves from initial entry to a status finalized. This signifies a critical stage. Every claim ID, every service date, provider, procedure, diagnosis code, they must be accurate, cross-referenced, and ready for prime time. Are your templates always reflecting this finalized status? Good. But finalization isn't the absolute last step, is it? We layer on the audit case review checklist. This is your ultimate safeguard. Have you confirmed all notes for accuracy? Have you double-checked that every single date aligns perfectly? And most importantly, is compliance met? No exceptions? You bet it is. We execute final review because this is where the audit team depends on your sharp eye for detail. This is where you catch what others might miss. This is where you prevent errors from ever seeing the light of day. Accuracy is our superpower here.
Okay, look at this. We've made it. This is the grand finale of our audit lifecycle. You've powered through determining the overlap, masterfully figured out the primacy order, and aced the analysis. Now we're approaching the final gate. This last step, highlighted in brilliant orange, is final review and export. What does that mean for us, the sharpest COB analysts in the game? It means all that complex logic, all that digging into the data comes to a head. Because if, and this is the big if Medicare is truly primary based on our rock-solid analysis, then we get to build and export those valid claims. Think about it. This is where we turn our findings into actionable results. We've done the detective work, we've applied the rules, and now we're ready to secure those recoveries. Isn't that satisfying? It's the ultimate validation of our detailed process. We're not just finding issues, we're fixing them by building those claims for the client. That's the power of mastering the audit lifecycle.
Unstructured notes? A recipe for confusion, wouldn't you agree? Look at this messy notepad on the left. A scramble of scribbles, arrows, and an ink blot. What does Medicare mean here? What was verified? When? Who verified it? No wonder it's crossed out. This isn't documentation. It's a liability. Now, pivot your eyes to the right. This is the narrative power of templates in action. We're talking about standardized documentation, your audit's rock-solid defense. See this small group disability template? Every single data point is clear, concise, and structured. Let's dissect this beauty. First, effective date. Right there, no guessing. Second, subscriber status. Enrolled in a commercial employer group with fewer than 100 employees. What does this immediately tell us about Medicare primacy for a disability beneficiary? Our rules clearly state that if the employer has less than 100 employees, Medicare is primary for disability cases. And look, the primacy field confirms it. Medicare is primary. No ambiguity. Isn't that fantastic how just one detail drives the complex logic? Communication, confirmed with Medicare rep. This isn't a vague talk to someone. It's a direct, verifiable statement. MBI status, attempted to obtain, unable to provide. Even when you can't get everything, you document the attempt. That's due diligence. This level of detail, captured consistently, prevents costly misinterpretations and guarantees accuracy. That's why you absolutely must review the specific templates for age, disability, ESRD, and COBRA. These aren't suggestions, they are crucial blueprints. Accuracy in these notes isn't just a nicety, it directly prevents client abrasion and guarantees clarity for everyone involved. You see how powerful this is for building an undeniable case?
All right, let's dive into some critical scenarios. Here we're looking at small group and employment logic. First up, on the left, small group disability. This member is disability entitled to Medicare Parts A and B. What's crucial here? The employer group has less than 100 employees. This instantly makes Medicare primary for these claims. Did you catch that? Our knowledge base highlights that if the employer has 100 or more employees, the group health plan would be primary. But here, with less than 100, Medicare steps right in as primary. This is exactly why we verify those employment details. Now, flip over to the right, small group age. Here, our member is age entitled to Medicare Parts A and B. The key? This subscriber is in a commercial employer group of less than 20 employees. And what does that mean for primacy? You got it. Medicare is primary. This aligns perfectly with our MSP rules for small employers. When that employee count dips below 20, Medicare takes the lead. Both scenarios show us the power of employment logic in determining who pays first. We're confirming those effective dates and attempting to get that MBI, even when the representative can't provide it. Every detail matters, right? What fantastic examples of complex COB.
All right, team, let's talk about the bedrock of MSP, primacy rules. We're looking at crucial entitlement and policy types here that tell us who pays first. This is where your COB radar really needs to be sharp. First up, COBRA. Look at what it says. Since the member is enrolled in a COBRA policy, Medicare should be primary for these claims. Did you catch that? If a member is Medicare eligible and on COBRA, what's our immediate thought? Medicare is primary. COBRA steps in as secondary coverage. This is a common one, and it's a huge finding when you spot it. Next, we shift to the retiree scenario. This one's a classic. Since the member is enrolled in a retiree policy, Medicare should be primary for these claims. Again, the language guides us perfectly. When someone has officially retired and are Medicare eligible, Medicare typically takes the lead as primary. Their retiree plan then becomes the secondary payer. Are you seeing a pattern emerging? And finally, the individual plan. Here it explicitly states Medicare is listed as primary within Facet's client system and then confirms Medicare is primary for these claims. If a member only has an individual health plan not tied to employment and they're eligible for Medicare, Medicare is almost always primary. The individual plan is secondary. Notice the consistent finding across all three. COBRA, retiree, and individual plans all point to Medicare being primary. This is critical for our claim building. Always verify those effective dates for Medicare Parts A and B, and remember that constant chase for the MBI. The audit team often tries to get that directly from the Medicare representative, but as you see here, sometimes it's just not provided. This is a common hurdle, but one we learn to overcome. Keep those eyes peeled for these scenarios because they represent significant recovery opportunities.
All right, let's dive into some fascinating nuances here. You know, sometimes the rules we learn have layers, and these scenarios are excellent examples of applying complex logic to determine who pays first. We're talking about real COB mastery here. First, let's look at ESRD. Now, if you're thinking about our standard ESRD rules, what comes to mind? Typically, we'd say the group health plan, or GHP, is primary for a 30-month coordination period, right? And then, after those 30 months, Medicare steps in as primary. That's our foundational rule. But what do we see in this scenario? It says the coordination period is null since the member is active with an individual group. Therefore, Medicare is primary effective. Why would that be? This is where we sharpen our COB detective skills. If it's an individual group and not a group health plan in the traditional sense, or perhaps a small employer group that doesn't trigger the GHP primary rule, then Medicare would be primary right from the start. This overrides that 30-month GHP coordination period we just discussed because the conditions for GHP primacy simply aren't met. It's a fantastic example of a rule having an exception based on the type of coverage, not just the diagnosis. Are you seeing those details now? Incredible stuff. Next, we have Medicaid. This one is often a bit more straightforward, which is a welcome relief after ESRD.
It clearly states, since Medicaid is payer of last resort, Medicare is primary effective 12/1/1994 within Facet's client system, and then reiterates, since Medicaid is payer of last resort, Medicare is primary for these claims. This is a key principle. Medicaid only pays when there's no other payer available, so if Medicare is in the picture, Medicare always takes the lead. Simple, yet absolutely critical for correct claims processing. Finally, let's talk about a crossover. This scenario tells us Medicare became primary as of, which occurred during the member's inpatient stay. Now, this is a very interesting piece of information. What does it tell you about the claims for that inpatient stay? If Medicare became primary during an inpatient stay, that means any services rendered before that date would follow the previous primacy rules, and services on or after that date would switch to Medicare as primary. This requires meticulous date of service analysis for that entire inpatient claim. You can't just apply one primacy rule to the whole stay. It's those little details that can make or break an accurate COB audit. Fantastic work spotting these intricacies. This is exactly the kind of deep dive that makes you truly understand COB. Before submitting any case, we have a critical step, the Audit Case Review Checklist. This isn't just a suggestion, it's how we guarantee data integrity and ensure our tracker reflects the absolute truth of our work. We're aiming for the perfect case every single time, and this checklist is your blueprint. Let's dive into what makes a case perfect, starting with investigation notes. Are your notes crystal clear? Have you documented every call, every detail, every decision that led you to your conclusion? Think about it. If someone else picked up your case, could they understand its entire journey just from your notes? These aren't just for you. They're the enduring story of the claim. Then we have status codes. Oh, these are vital. Is your case in the correct status? Are you showing ready for investigation when it's clearly Medicare Prime COB deed, or vice versa? The status code is the flag that tells the system and other auditors exactly where that case stands in the workflow. An incorrect status can derail everything. Next up, primacy dates. Are your primacy dates ironed out and correct? This is the heart of COB deed, isn't it? Have you confirmed Medicare's effective dates, the GHP's effective dates, any SSRD coordination periods? If these dates are off, even by a single day, our entire payment hierarchy could be wrong, leading to missed recoveries or incorrect claim bills. Accuracy here is paramount. And finally, auditor assignment. This one seems simple, but it's crucial for accountability and workflow. Is the case correctly assigned to you or the right individual on the team? We need to know who owns what, who's responsible for the next steps. It keeps our operations smooth and ensures no case gets lost in the shuffle. Every single point on this checklist is designed to protect our data, streamline our process, and ultimately ensure we identify every possible recovery. You're building a foundation of accuracy here. Keep those cases perfect.
Checkpoint 1. We're kicking off our review with notes and status codes. This isn't just data entry, it's your full audit story, written for every future you. First, your investigation notes. Every single one needs to convey the entire audit process. If someone picks up this case months from now, can they trace your steps? Leave no doubt. Then, we hit the status code. Look at our audit team tracker. We're selecting Med Prime COB. You know what that means. We've identified Medicare as primary, and we're ready for claims coordination. This code tells everyone exactly where we are in the process. And here's where the logic gets fun. We update the Med Prime date only if Medicare is primary. See that Medicare prior Y on the screen? That's your trigger. No Y, no date update. That's the kind of precision that makes you a COB pro. All right, let's talk dates. This checkpoint, the logic of dates, is absolutely critical for accuracy. You're looking at a core timeline here: the effective date, the lag period, and the review date. Why is this so important? Because claims don't hit our system instantly, right? There's always a delay, that lag period between when a service happens and when the claim is processed. We have to account for it. Now, let's dive into Rule 1. Update rev date if claims are not out of lag yet. This is about precision. When you're identifying claims that fall within our defined lag period, meaning they haven't aged out and are still potentially recoverable, you must ensure that review date, the rev date, is set correctly. We don't want to miss a single opportunity because of an inaccurate date, do we? This keeps everything on track for future audits. Then we have Rule 2. Update tracker note to include primacy reason and/or policy effective date. This is all about clarity and detail. Think of it as leaving a breadcrumb trail for anyone who comes after you. Are we dealing with a retiree effective date? Is it COBRA effective date? Or a direct pay policy effective date? Be specific. This isn't just a formality. It's how we truly understand why Medicare is primary or secondary. You clarify the primacy reason, and you make the next audit seamless. What seems like a small detail now saves massive time later. Are you starting to see how these dates and notes build the complete picture? Incredible.
All right, checkpoint 3. We're diving into assignment and group data. This is where we ensure accountability and lay the groundwork for accurate primacy. First up, auditor assignment. Look at that highlighted field, first name, last name. This is crucial. You are the auditor, and your work needs to be clearly tracked. If there's an issue, who did the work? Who do we go to for questions? You. Always make sure your name is in that auditor field. Why does this matter so much? It ties directly to your audits, your findings, your accuracy. It's your stamp of excellence on every case. Next, we move to group type code and size desk. Now this is where the rubber meets the road for MSP primacy, isn't it? You see that COB group add edit window? We've clicked on the group number hyperlink. That's your gateway to these critical details. What jumps out at you? Right, size desk, currently showing greater than 100, and group type, active. Why are these non-negotiable for accuracy? Think back to our MSP rules. Is this a working-aged case, disability, ESRD? The employer group size dictates if Medicare is primary or secondary. If the group has 20 or more employees and it's a working-aged case, the GHP is primary. What about disability? Needs 100 plus employees for the GHP to be primary. Getting this right means the difference between a correct overpayment identification and a missed opportunity. It's foundational. Don't gloss over these details, COB experts. They are everything for accurate MSP determination.
Checkpoint 4, case functionality. This is where you bring it all home, applying that incredible COB knowledge you've gained. You've done the deep dive, you've identified the primacy change, and now it's time to finalize that audit. See how this workflow guides us? From finalizing, we move straight to selecting the correct case functionality. This is crucial. Look at our options here in the dropdown. MC Audit is highlighted, and it's our target. Why MC Audit now? Because you've performed a comprehensive review. You've gone through the process, applied all the rules, and found those beautiful savings. Choosing MC Audit precisely labels the type of work performed. If you were just making a quick MC call to verify something, that's what you'd select. If you were focused solely on MCEV for employment verification, you'd pick that. But we're finalizing an audit. This specific functionality tells the system exactly what happened here. Getting the selection right is key to clean data and accurate reporting. It ensures that the audit team can track, manage, and ultimately celebrate the specific nature of your findings.
All right, COB Dynamos, let's talk about the Medicare call. This isn't just a phone call. It's our first step in building a rock-solid case. The goal? Verification. You are confirming everything with the Medicare representative, but only if those claims are pursuable and out of lag. Remember, timing is everything in COB. What's our script for success? First, we confirm Medicare entitlement dates. Think of these as our golden tickets. We need those exact Part A and Part B effective dates. Why? Because these dates determine when Medicare coverage truly began, and that dictates our entire look-back period. Next, we confirm the reason prior to building claims. This is where the magic happens, and our MSP rules come into play. Is it working aged, disability, ESRD? The reason Medicare is secondary is critical. Without this, how can we confidently build any claims? And if it's ESRD, oh, that's a beautiful piece of complex logic. We need to verify the first DOD. This pinpoints the start of that crucial 30-month coordination period. Is the patient receiving in-center treatment or home training? This detail can sometimes impact specific claim types or benefits coordination. It's a nuance that separates the good COB auditors from the truly great ones. Now, for documentation, precision is key. You'll record exactly what the MC rep tells you, their name, the age entitlement date, and those pristine Part A and Part B effective dates. We're talking real dates, like 01/01/2023, not placeholders. Every single digit matters, because this summary builds our entire audit narrative. Keep that MC rep call guide handy. It's your best friend for navigating these calls. All right, team. We've hit the fork in the road, haven't we? This is where our meticulous audit work truly shines, guiding us to crystal clear next steps. On the left, we've got Audit Complete and Medicare Primary. This is fantastic news, right? It means we've confirmed Medicare is the primary payer. Look at that status, 513. And right there, highlighted for you, is our crucial indicator, MedPri equals Y. Yes, you verified it. Medicare is primary. Now, when you see a 513, what kind of note do you expect? Exactly. Check out that sample note. WY is end plan. Medicare is primary for Parts A and B beginning 4/1/24. Built 10 claims for about $20K. This is precisely the kind of detail we need to document when we've nailed down Medicare primacy and processed those claims. You're telling the whole story right there. But what if the audit takes us down the other path? Over on the right, we have OI is not primary. This means other insurance isn't primary. And crucially, it also means Medicare isn't primary either, at least not yet. See that red highlight, MedPri equals N. This is a critical distinction. This outcome often leads us to statuses like 204 or 902. Why 204 or 902? Think about it. A 204 means we've got to dig deeper. We need employment verification to figure out who's truly primary. And a 902 tells us we've identified overpayments, but we're just waiting for that perfect moment to submit. Look at the sample note for this side. WY is a large and active group. Medicare Secondary would require EV. Isn't that beautiful? It immediately tells us why we're at a 204. We need that EV to flip MedPri equals N to a Y if applicable, or keep it an N if the other insurance remains primary. This is the logic flow, connecting the dots from finding to action. You are becoming a master of these connections.
All right, this is the final review loop, our absolute last stop before releasing our findings. What's the core mission here? To be accurate, defensible, and ready every single time. First up, we select template. Usually that's our standard narrative. Why is consistency so crucial? Because it sets the stage, right? And yes, even the font, Roboto Regular, matters. Precision from the very start. From there, we dive into our internal check. This is where we scrutinize everything, the notes, the codes, and those all-important dates. Is the MSP primacy correct? Have we filtered our claims with the right endos? This is where your deep understanding of the manual shines through. Finding those subtle errors before they become bigger problems, that's what we do. But we don't stop there, do we? Next is the external check. What's the best way to confirm data sometimes? We call the MC rep, getting those Part A, B effective dates directly from the source. It adds an ironclad layer of defense to our work. And finally, once everything is verified, once we're absolutely confident, we move to final status. This means we update the tracker with the correct status codes. Remember, 513 for Medicare Primary, 901 for Closed, and so on. And then we build the claims. This is the culmination of all our hard work. Think about it. This entire loop ensures that every single claim, every single determination is rock solid. No guesswork, just verifiable, bulletproof logic. That's how we ensure we're always accurate, defensible, and ready.
Accurate notes and validated dates. They're more than just data entry, aren't they? They are the bedrock of what we do. Think about it. Every single detail, every timestamp, every interaction needs to be precise. Why? Because these aren't just entries filling a database. Oh no, my friends, they are your first line of defense. They protect the audit. And hey, looks like someone was so excited about protecting the audit, they said it twice. See how easy it is for an extra word to sneak in? That's why your attention to detail is paramount, even in the notes you read and create. Precise data streamlines the client experience, making everything smoother from eligibility verification right through to final resolution. And what's the ultimate goal? Driving successful recovery. It all ties back to those accurate notes and validated dates. Every single piece of information builds that critical path to success. You're building a fortress of facts with every entry. And speaking of critical paths, always refer to the Medicare Audit Case Review Checklist. It's there to guide you, every single case, ensuring you haven't missed a beat. It's your ultimate roadmap to navigating complex COB logic.